Alright, in this computer animation tutorial we will be going over how to animate a bouncing ball in Adobe Animate using what are called motion tweens. And we've used a classic tween in the previous lessons up to now, and we're going to go over some of the special features that you have when you use a motion tween. So we're going to start with an ActionScript 3 file, and what we'll do is go ahead and we'll create a layer for the ground and then another layer for the ball. On your ground layer, you can start by just drawing a rectangle type shape. I added a gradient to mine. Might be something that you would want to consider doing. Can kind of add some more depth to your kind of your simple scene that we're creating. What you should go for is having a darker color at one end and a lighter color at the other end. And that way it kind of creates more of an illusion of depth in a picture. What I'll use to rotate this linear gradient, because I want it to go a different way, is to take the gradient transform tool and then just rotate this by pulling this corner so that it's now straight. So now my gradient goes this way as opposed to side to side. Great, now that that's set, I'll lock that layer and I'll go ahead and gonna start working on the ball. What I'm going to do is open up this animation to, say, maybe 60 frames. Click on one frame and open up by pressing F5. Alright, so what we can do is on this first frame, we will draw a basketball. So we want to create a circle by using our shape tool, and then holding the shift key on your keyboard will keep the proportional circle proportional rather. The color that I'm going to want for this is going to be a solid color rather than the gradient. I'm going to go with a brighter orange to kind of stand out from my surface here. That should be pretty good. There we go, you can really see it once you unclick it. Looks a little different while the color is selected. Okay, so once we have the basic ball shape, we'll press F8 on our keyboard and convert this into a graphic. I'm going to call mine B-Ball2. Alright, and now what we'll just do is we're going to create a shape tween or a motion tween that just goes along this entire ball's layer. So I'm going to right click in this timeline for the ball and then click create motion tween. That entire layer will turn blue now. So now what we can do is add keyframes along the way of where we would like this ball to travel to. So at the 10th keyframe I'm going to press F6 and I'm going to move the ball down, do a little bit so it just passes the surface there. On the 20th frame I'll press F6 again and I'll have the ball bounce up, maybe about halfway up the stage. Go to the 30th frame, F6 again, we'll bring the ball back down to bouncing on the ground. Go ahead again, maybe just like 7 frames this time because this will be a bit of a shorter height. We'll have the ball again bounce slightly up, and a few frames down the way again we'll press F6 again and have the ball kind of touch gently back down. And you can always go back and adjust these, so don't worry about the permanence of their places. And then on, let's say, this 50th frame about, we'll have the ball actually just go straight off the side, so it's kind of just roll off the side there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like when we test it. So we have the ball kind of bouncing, gradually getting lower, and then rolling off the scene. So that's great. What we're going to do is now kind of edit the basketball graphic a little bit more. What I can do is double click on this graphic and I could go ahead in and add other details, lines. Let's say, for instance, on this basketball I would like to have some of the kind of the detail lines that go on there, which would be kind of like this curve here. That didn't curve like I wanted it to. Let's get in there. Sometimes it takes a few tries. And we'll go with that kind of a curve, and then one more on the top side. Just go with that kind of line. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now I could go back out to my scene, and that graphic will stay the same the whole way, okay, because I changed it on the graphic inside of this graphic, so it's going to change all these keyframes along the way, which is a really nice feature. The other thing that we want to do is to maybe edit this pathway a little bit. Something we can do is we can go ahead, and if you have your selection arrow selected, we can shift this path if we just kind of grab it anywhere in the middle and make it go at more of an arc, which would be a little more realistic for an object like this to actually be going more of an archway. Now if you want to adjust individual points on your line, you can take what's called your subselection arrow. Subselection arrow, you can actually just click on one single point and pull that point a little bit. So we can see that these 3 points here all want to be pretty much level. So I'm going to go ahead and make those points so they're a little more flat all the way across. So let's test this out one more time. And a little more curving there. Now the other thing that we can add to this is some rotation, because we all know probably a ball is bouncing and it's probably going to spin a little bit. So something we can do is if we click on the first frame of this motion tween in this layer, we can add a number of rotations. So I'm going to click in this spot and just add 1 rotation for now, and the direction we'll have as being clockwise. Other things you can see in here that you have control over is the ease. So I can kind of ease this animation. What it will do is when it approaches points, it will kind of change speeds. So see how that goes really kind of quickly? It drops really quick and then bounces off. That makes this animation a little more realistic. Let's try turning the ease down a little bit. Let's click on this first frame. Let's also go ease all the way to -100, and let's see what the difference is there. So the ball slowly falls down and then trickles off, which I'm not sure if that's that realistic, because with a slow roll like that, it probably won't bounce quite as high. I personally think I would set the ease a little bit higher, so I'll just click on this keyframe again, and I will kind of click and drag this ease maybe back to, maybe somewhere between 0 and 100. And it's got that little bit of rotation going too, so it kind of adds to the realism of this quick animation. Alright, so that's a little bit about motion tweening and Adobe Animate, and hope you have lots of luck and take some creative liberties with this one.